We saw some footage of Zion Williamson that caught your guys' attention, and I'd like to see it now. Zion warming up. We don't have him. It could be another 2-3 weeks. Chuck, you had a visceral reaction.
Looked like me and Shaq had a baby. I quit. What it look like, Chuck? Me and you had a baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like things are getting really good in New Orleans. I mean, at least way better than things are getting for the Los Angeles Lakers, because finally it seems like Zion Williamson has returned to a court, and he's even returned to practice. We have the whole update for you guys in this video. Before we get to the content, we're giving away $500 to one of my followers on Instagram, and we're giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. I think we could all agree on one thing, and that's that banks are extremely sleazy. I mean, they charge like $35 for overdraft fees. They'll charge you for opening a checking and savings account, and they definitely don't give you cash back on debit card purchases. Pretty much, a bank is trying to take money out of your account, which is why I partnered with Albert. Unlike banks, Albert's actually going to save you money. Instead of just opening up a traditional savings account and hoping that you remember to put some money into it, Albert looks at your income and expenses and sees what money you could save. They offer 5 to 20% cash back from places like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Walmart. And the best part is they have your back so much that they'll spot you up to $250 when you need it. They'll pay you up to 2 days early. And most importantly, they'll help you manage your money with one of my favorite features on the app, Genius, which is a team of financial experts that Albert has that they call geniuses that will look at your situation and help you come up with a plan and answer any of your questions if you get stuck. And right now, when you go to albert.com/TFM and open up a checking account and connect a qualifying direct deposit, you'll get $150. That's albert.com/TFM to download the Albert app, open up a checking account, and connect a qualifying direct deposit to get $150. And thank you, Albert, for today's sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The last time I brought you guys an update, I was mentioning the fact that a lot of people were taking public aim at Zion Williamson for not calling CJ McCollum and welcoming him to the team after the New Orleans Pelicans swung a pretty remarkable trade to get CJ McCollum on the team.
Getting him back, I haven't had conversations with him directly. I've spoken to some people close to him and look forward to sitting down with him sooner than later.
I mean, things got so bad that you had JJ Redick, Zion Williamson's ex-teammate, calling him out on ESPN's First Take.
I was his teammate. I can describe him as a detached teammate. That is an accurate statement.
Which, props to JJ Redick, man. I think this guy is going to become like the Pat McAfee of basketball pretty soon. He's very likable and he's a remarkable analyst, one of my favorite mainstream analysts at the very least, but that's a different conversation for a different day. He held Zion Williamson very accountable because if you are the leader of a team, you need to call any new addition to that team and welcome them to said team. As a result, JJ Redick even went as far as to call Zion Williamson detached, and that just fueled the media circus of Zion Williamson doesn't want to be in New Orleans. And ultimately, as time progressed on, he did do things to put those conversations at rest a little bit. He did show some love to his teammates on Instagram, and originally he was rehabilitating in Portland, and he did get empathy from CJ McCollum as a result of his rehabilitation, because bear in mind, guys, what Zion's gone through during the beginning of his NBA career cannot be easy. The fact that he was babied during his rookie season and wasn't able to play a full slate of games until they finally allowed him to play in the middle of his rookie season. He had that magical debut against the San Antonio Spurs. Things were going good for the New Orleans Pelicans, and then bam, the COVID pandemic hit. And although the New Orleans Pelicans were starting to get their rhythm prior to the pandemic, the NBA paused. Everyone was taken out of their rhythm until the entire NBA relaunched, and a Disneyland bubble, and clearly the Pelicans weren't the same Pelicans again. However, Zion Williamson played a whole season last year, and he was absolutely phenomenal to watch. I mean, if you think about it, the fact that this man averaged 27 points per game in 61 games, which is his most complete season to date, off of 61% shooting, just showed how much potential this young man truly had. They tried putting Zion Williamson at the point guard position, and it worked out wonderfully. Yes, there were narratives about the man's weight, but honestly, we didn't really care so much because he was able to play and things were looking good. Until we came into this season, and all of a sudden, for some reason, David Griffin felt like it was necessary to let us know during New Orleans Pelicans Media Day,
Hello, Zion Williamson, he has a broken foot. I hope it's not that big of a deal. He should be able to play soon.
eventually, Zion Williamson was targeting a December return. He was able to ramp up his activity in December, but unfortunately what happened then was, once again, as he was ramping up his activity, there was another setback in his foot. So now we're back to where things are in December. Zion Williamson is slowly ramping up his activity once again. So far, things are looking good. He came back from Portland and he was in New Orleans the last time we made a video. In this video, we're going to show you this man is literally in practice with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I don't know if he's doing contact drills, but the fact that he's in practice and he's showing love to his teammates and he's smiling as he's working on his game is a nice sight in of itself. Now, this article mentions that Zion Williamson's participation in practice was limited, but the fact that he was even in practice was a welcome sight. Devontae Graham said it's good for him. I know he missed being here, just being around your family, your brothers. It was a warm welcome when he came back. Just want to see him healthy, and that's all. Now, there's still a huge question of whether or not Zion Williamson will be able to play this year. Is he going to be able to make it to the court for the New Orleans Pelicans' potential push into the NBA playoffs? Currently, the Pelicans are 10th in the Western Conference, and they have a 1.5 point game lead over the Portland Trail Blazers for the final play-in spot. As a matter of fact, the play-in race is extremely tight. If you take a look at it, my Los Angeles Lakers are very close to not being in the play-in in of itself. The New Orleans Pelicans could easily leapfrog over the Los Angeles Lakers if the Lakers continue their current losing streak, and honestly, getting Zion Williamson could be a huge contributing factor to that. If you ask me, my potential move would be to, and what I think is going to happen is the Pelicans aren't going to let Zion Williamson play this year. I think they're going to hold Zion Williamson back, try their best to tank the rest of the games, because honestly, it doesn't look like they have great odds making it in as a play-in team and trying to force Zion to hurry back from his injury and try to figure out chemistry between him and CJ McCollum and all of his new teammates just during the beginning of the play-in. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like what makes a little bit more sense is to ease him back, make sure, because on top of the fact that Zion Williamson has a foot injury, the man honestly isn't in the greatest basketball shape. And I'm not trying to call him fat or anything, and I would never make videos claiming that he was overweight or anything of that sort. But in this instance, I just can't imagine a scenario where the New Orleans Pelicans, who have already been fairly conservative with their approach to bringing Zion Williamson back into the team's lineup in the past, whether it was his rookie season or his sophomore season, bear in mind Zion Williamson's only played 85 games so far, it's very hard to believe that the Pelicans will say,
hurry up, Zion, get well quick. We have a bunch of new teammates that you need to figure out how to play under. You have a brand new head coach that you need to figure out how to work with. And oh, by the way, the play-in tournament is a few games away. We need you ready for that.
I think the more likely scenario is they're just going to ride it out the way things are. If Zion happens to be good enough to come back, then great. I don't see this as a situation where they would rush him back. And even if he's good to go, I think it's better to just make sure his conditioning is straight and shoot for the beginning of next season as opposed to this season, especially if you could get him to lose some pounds, man. Losing a few pounds and getting lighter could be the difference between Zion Williamson being healthy for a full season and him having, and I hope this doesn't happen, a DeMarcus Cousins-like freak injury that completely alters the course of his entire NBA career.
He's already had surgeries on his legs. Now he's got a broken foot. Even when you're hurt, you're gonna have to control your eating, because when guys get hurt, Adam, when they come back, you're trying to get in shape. And if you're putting all that stress on your knees and your feet, you're just gonna keep getting hurt.
But needless to say, this is a very positive report. The fact that Zion Williamson is in practice with his teammates, relaxing, smiling, shooting, participating, and just hanging around the guys is one, good for his mental health, and two, good for the New Orleans Pelicans. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.